call to order the workshop meeting for January 3rd, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we are down to liquid fuels.
Okay, so this is just an annual resolution that we have to do, saying that we'll use the liquid fuels money appropriately as required. So, I'll sign that. Anybody will be solicitor?
Kathy?
Mike next week?
Mike will be here.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, Kathy said okay.
Kathy?
Yeah. So eager participation there, Kathy. Professional consultants fee resolution.
Yeah. Again, this is just an annual resolution to say when our consultants work for the developers, we're going to bill them at these rates. And these are the rates that you're actually going to approve at the reorganization meeting in the 2023 rates.
Okay, I can take that.
I did want to add one thing right here. There's an email that Mike was sending around today about the ward reapportionment vote. Did anybody have a chance to see it? It was just this afternoon. He said he was going to send it. So after the 2020 census came out, I looked at every ward and how many people are in each ward, and they have to be within 10% of the 10% variance of the mean. So I think I sent this to you guys like late this afternoon, probably too. You didn't have a chance to look at it, but basically, and I had sent you an email back in October of 2021 when I finished the study to say that no redistricting was needed because every of the 4 wards fell within 10% of the mean. So no changes were needed, but Mike had an email today saying that you need to take a motion and a vote on that, which we've never done before. He did ask me, have we ever done that before? We haven't, but he has an email out to you.
I don't know if he sent it
He-
yet.
oh, he
If
didn't
not,
send
it
it?
will be sending it
I
later
don't see
today,
that in
tonight
my
or
computer.
tomorrow.
He said he was going. Okay, you don't think he sent it
I
out
don't.
yet?
If he sent
we
it,
don't
since
have
I
he's
didn't get it.
emailing
Oh, you
you,
didn't get
I'm
it
not
yet.
CC'd on it. So
Okay.
I'm assuming it wasn't sent yet. But what Karen's saying is it summarizes it
Yeah.
accurately. It's we were asking if whether or not we need to reconsider looking at the wards, but Karen already did the research, and because everything fit within the standard mean, and we're fine to proceed, but we want to just put on a motion to confirm that we are not changing any of the wards based on any of the size of the changes
Yeah.
per the last census.
So, Alex, do you think that's something Mike wants to put on for January then? Was that the sense you got, or? It does say at the end of this
We
letter.
can, yeah.
It does say something about, as our memo indicates, should the township choose to act to effectuate any reapportionment, which we're not, all actions should be completed prior to the circulation of nomination petitions, which in Montgomery County runs from February 14th, 2023 to March 7th. But we're not going to do that. And then it should be noted there's no obligation to finalize this process prior to the 2023 municipal election cycle. But he feels that he does say it's a vote we should take, a motion and a vote.
Yeah, to confirm our current boundaries. I'm comfortable doing it next week.
Okay. Okay, so it's just a motion and a vote, so somebody wants to make the motion?
And we'll draft the language.
Okay.
Amen. I'll eagerly look for that email.
I'll make sure it gets sent tomorrow morning.
Sorry.
That's all right. Anything else for administration?
No.
Police public safety.
Yeah, I added a couple things up from Harmonville. I don't know if you have anything first, Chuck.
I do.
Harmonville had asked at budget time for council to consider the tax credits that are provided for under Act 91, where active volunteers could get a rebate or refund on their property tax. So Harmonville went ahead and made a list of active volunteers that own property in Plymouth, and then Kellen did the looked at the assessments and did their, what their taxes are in total. And you can see on this circulation, 12-014, that it would be about $4,762 to refund to these property owners and active volunteers if you wanted to consider this as an additional payment in addition to that stipend that we do, the $5 per call for active volunteers. If you remember, they talked about this at budget time. They asked for it.
I know we talked about it. Did we put anything in the budget, knowing that that was something that might come down the pike? Did we allocate anything?
No, the stipend money was increased a
But
little, but
not
not this. No.
So we had no idea how many there were,
Yeah, I mean, I
what it
didn't know
was.
if we allocated
You
anything.
didn't know at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Plymouth told us that they actually have fewer active volunteers who own property in Plymouth. They actually said they have quite a few in White Marsh and Conshohocken Borough that are belong to Plymouth Fire Company. So I would imagine that their value would be less than this number.
But we would offer it to
Oh, of
Plymouth as well.
course. Of course, yeah, sure. I mean, it was just Harmville that brought it up and asked.
Yep.
And they didn't, they also asked about earned income tax, but they did not provide any W-2s that we could actually calculate what that lost revenue would be, or refunded.
But we could do one without doing the other. I mean,
Yes,
if we don't
of
know
course.
what.
Sure. You could do a percentage of this, you could do none of it all. It's totally up to you. Abington Township had I think a 20% refund of property taxes. It's just, it could be some percentage, it could be 100%, 50%.
We don't know what White Marsh and Conshohocken are doing.
I don't, I think they were going to get those fire companies to also ask their boards because at the budget time, they said if Conshohocken, White Marsh, and Plymouth did, then they would ask the Colonial School District for a rebate of school taxes. They would then go to the county and ask for the county taxes. I mean, the law allows them, these property tax rebates, but I mean, they were just starting here. I don't know what White Marsh and Conshohocken.
So he's
are
including the
considering.
real estate and the fire fee in his figures here. They're looking for both?
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again? There.
There's the assessed value, the real estate, is that the real estate taxes? What's the fire?
Our fire fee.
Right, so he's
Taxes.
asking for real estate taxes and fire fee.
It's really all part of the millage, yes. Right, it's all the same.
Okay.
That's just the breakdown,
Yeah, we have a millage and then we have a fire service fee.
right?
And we combine them together and, I mean, you have to pay your full bill.
And Act 91 also speaks about earned income taxes? Or does it only?
Apparently not. Have you heard of this? Because I didn't study the law.
I haven't looked at
They
it.
came to us at the budget time and told us what the law says.
I haven't looked at Act 91 with regard to earned income tax. I've only looked at it for real estate taxes. I can take a look at if it allows for earned income and other types of taxation to be refunded.
My
Said it was.
my feeling would be that I would prefer to just do the real estate tax. I just feel like the earned income tax can get a little, I don't know, it
Personal. for them.
Yeah.
They have to give us their W-2s.
yeah, and I don't know if we really, like, I think the real estate tax is something that's, true to, it's here in the township, it's where they live, and they could work anywhere, that W-2s could get a little hairy, but I think the real estate tax is a nice gesture. And if, I don't know, I mean, even if it's not budgeted, the $4,700 plus if Plymouth is less than that, it's not like it's a huge difference in our budget, but I think it goes a long way for volunteer retainment, recruitment.
And if I remember what they said, it was like even getting something here was really like more the priority. Could we, like, if they get all of it, obviously they'll take all
You're
of it.
thinking 100%?
Like but we don't have to. I think they were comfortable as long as we got something, because then that gives them a little bit more bargaining power going to places like Whitmark, going to the Colonial School Board.
And the school district, which, that's the biggie.
Yeah. So like, even if we might not be able to do the full gesture, to just do a little bit, or at least the first year, and then like going into next year's budget, we can set aside to be able to.
I have no problem going all of it, because it is based on they have to
Yeah.
have made it to a certain number of calls, right? So we're kind of
Yes.
like,
Yeah, they have to attend so many trainings, so many
Right.
fire calls.
And the statute spells that part out? We don't have to set those parameters?
Well, so, John Hoffman said that he He did not see the definition of active in the law, but the email that he sent said, these people are active from the stipend qualifications. So that was all hammered out, who's active. So many fire calls, so many trainings, so many certifications, and all that. And he just didn't know if the law specified what is an active.
I think it defined if you're full-time, but I can take another look at that. I haven't looked at that since we.
Yeah, and this will be for volunteers, not the paid.
Right.
Not, yeah. So,
I think it makes more sense to give it to the volunteers as an additional, show of gratitude for their service.
Yeah.
I would not be, I think we should give the full amount too.
Yeah, I do too. And then just see if the statute or what, just make sure that we're following the law in terms of who qualifies. That's all. If the
Yeah,
statute tells us
definition
what it
active.
is,
Yep.
we'll have to follow the statute.
Assuming we're able to, for council's consideration, we could have a resolution for February for this.
One of these artificially low.
Well, yeah.
The fourth one down. Is that correct or is that a mistake?
Oh,
The Clover Lane one, I checked it. I don't know if that's the one that might have been.
oh, you know what that is? I know who it is. So
I know what. Yeah.
So he actually tore the house down.
So is
he had
that-
to-
You had to reassess when it was torn down.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's the land right now because he's building a big,
So
big
because
home,
so
and that'll be,
so that's
it'll go up.
just okay. Okay.
But that's the taxes he would pay this year. So you don't
Gotcha.
get back what you
Gotcha.
paid.
Gotcha.
You don't get the assessment finalized until
Until the
He
reconstruction.
gets his
until
occupancy
it's
permit.
completed,
Got it.
right?
And
And then it
then
gets
they
reassessed.
Come out
And
Got it.
sometimes
so this
takes
is
a
just the value of the
number months.
lot?
Yes, probably.
They
And
probably-
if he has a shed out back,
if he
whatever it was
demolished,
left.
if he demolished
He did.
the structure,
That's
then
what it was.
they knocked off the
Yeah,
structure
that's
value, so
the-
that's the
yeah.
value of the land only.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah, people do that all the time. Vacant land is way assessed
Yeah,
far
so-
from us.
Fair market
Approved.
value of that is roughly $110,000 for the land itself, and that's what that number represents, give or take.
All right, so generally in favor of 100% rebate.
I'll do the research and get an answer to you quickly.
Right, on the active. And the second thing there was the loan for Station 2. I think we were asked to just provide what a 3% interest rate would be as opposed to the, I guess we had 3.5, 4, 4.5, and 5 last month. And so we just added the 3% in there. And I think that should be as low as we should go because that's, we can
So,
make that
Given
much or
that,
more
yeah.
on our money. We shouldn't be.
yeah, I wouldn't go much lower than that.
Yeah. Just wanted to let you see what those numbers look like. I didn't share them with the fire company yet. I'm not here, but,
And I can't recall if I ever sent this email, so I apologize, but yes, you can allow them to borrow money.
Yeah, I think you did send us an email about that.
Okay, good. I was having a blank moment as Karen
It was
brought
last year, I mean.
Yeah, it's 2022.
So we were
Me personally.
we were at 3.5. I know they definitely wanted to go lower than that.
but they won't get a mortgage for less than
Right.
that out on the outside.
Right. Like I think
Now.
3. I think 3 is pretty fair. I think they're probably hoping for like 2.5, but I think 3 is fair.
Yeah.
And when this happened in 1990 for Station 1, if that's the number and they want to go 20 years, which you do save a lot of interest doing that, but it'll be up to them what they think they can afford. But anyway, that amount, whatever the number is, will be subtracted from their appropriation each year. So when you give them $400,000 a year or something, we would subtract the amount they owe us and pay them the difference. And we would have to, I guess they have some money in savings if they were, to make their ends meet.
So they understand that? I mean, they're aware of that?
Well, yeah, that's, we can tell them again, but that's how
Okay.
it happened. I think they even told us that that's how it happened in 1990 because none of us were here then.
Okay, thanks.
So, yeah. Yeah. And the last time it was part of a bond the township purchased for a new roof at the township building and firehouse at Station 1. So this was on that thing. So do you want me to let them know 3%? It's the lowest.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And you can choose the number of years.
And we can start putting together an agreement after that. And you'll be able to put together a payment schedule.
And that's all I have for one.
Anything else for police, public safety?
No, just we've been working on those traffic issues with the Cunningtown residents. I don't know if you had a chance to see, I updated Chris, Nick, and Karen as of this morning. And we're still working on it, but as you can see from the update, there's a lot of things that, as I suspected, just weren't feasible. The law doesn't allow for it. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to send you the same updates.
Everybody good?
The good news is that what Mr. Tornado will fill in the hole.
So he says we
Pave.
keep on top of it. I'm hoping we'll keep on top of
Pave
it.
in the springtime when you can pave. It's warmer. I mean,
No, that'd be nice.
that would be good.
Be great help.
Keep our eyes on it.
Because he said he would, right?
He did.
Said
He
he
did it recorded, but he said
We
it.
can sign it. I mean, I think it's very positive.
Yeah,
that he
absolutely.
said it.
All right. Public Works, snow announcement. You know what? I'll read it.
You want just snow?
What?
You want
I would like a little bit of snow
I would too.
just before March.
Sorry, Chris, but I would like a little.
Just enough. Now with grass.
Chris, anything else? Engineering?
Nothing, sir.
All right. Going all the way down, is the first one Sandy Hill?
Yes.
Nick? The extensions next. Nick and Lynn?
Yes. Both of those are trying feverishly to get their plans recorded, but working on it.
All right. Wawa, Nick. All right. Anything else in any of those that you got?
For land development.
Mr. Wallace?
I have nothing.
Zoning?
So I do have some concern about zoning. The first one is fine, in my opinion. It's an extra 2 feet on a fence in the backyard where they have full view of their neighbors because of the topography, they look right into their neighbor's yard. But the next three,
Yeah,
They're weird.
what is that?
so
I was Googling.
And two of them
this,
seem
but-
seem identical.
yes, so I don't know if you remember, there was a subdivision in 2022. It was called 1234 Butler Pike. It was also known as Tellurium, where it went to the zoning hearing board to take one house and they would demolish it, subdivide the lot into 2 lots. They needed a variance because the width of the street was only 50 feet, it's supposed to be 60 in the C residential district. Otherwise, the 2 lots are of the right size. They're just over 9,000 square feet, which they need to be for a single-family house in the C residential zone. They now want to put 2 apartments in each of the 2 houses, so you've gone from 1 dwelling to 4. think
And then
it's- it-
two of them
you
are
know-
like a duplex and a triplex, and they're both on
Yeah,
lots
the
1 and 2. I
left
couldn't
one.
figure that
Yeah,
out.
so it took me a while to figure it out, but I mean, just reviewing very carefully. So the first one should say just lot 1, and the next one should say lot 2.
Oh, okay.
And, but that's not how they felt. Their paperwork actually is invalid at the moment, and, because they're asking for special exceptions when they need variances. So they're coming back in to fill out new forms if they haven't done it already.
I think they've done
They
that.
think they've done it already. So I mean, with, with our zoning officer leaving, and then, he actually, they came in on his last day, so they didn't get, like, looked at, but, so then I was, helping look at them and said they need to be redone, because they can't ask for a special exception, because the code doesn't allow them to seek a special
Are
exception.
we advertising them as variance, or are we
I did.
advertising them per what they asked for?
I advertised them as a variance.
Okay.
And told them they had to come in and fill out new paperwork.
You're too nice.
Well, they should have been rejected.
Yeah.
But it was right up against the deadline, and because of our zoning officer leaving and our new one coming in, that kind of thing. So, yes, I was
So
being
these are
very
not
nice.
single family, I mean, this is apartments. This is
Well,
not,
that's the name of their, their business, their LLC.
yeah, but what's a triplex? There's like,
Well, that's 3. And so
That's 3.
that's
and
a
they're one on
different-
top of the other? It's like 3,
No, that's a different lot. That has a different address. That's 1 block up. It's the same
Yeah.
company. 1 block up at 1316 Butler. They're going to take down one house. Well, actually, they want to, I don't even know they're going to take it down. I think they just want to renovate it into, it was a single-family home. They want to renovate it into a triplex. And the standard of proof is like, you shouldn't have congestion in the street. Well, what is this? You're having like 10 cars where you used to have, 4 or something,
And parking is limited there
Parking
anyway.
is extremely limited on
Yeah.
Butler Pike, right? And some people have driveways, some don't. I think the triplex, they have an area in the back where they would, enough land where they would make a little parking lot, for 3 cars, but.
Bless you.
God bless you. But to me, it really is overcrowding the land, it's overcrowding the street, it's, I think it's too much. You might, want to let the zoning board decide. I don't know. And the notices will go out to the neighbors, hopefully, they'll make their voices heard. I don't know, but to me, it's overcrowding the land.
and this is the one they want to put 3 houses in?
For one of the units.
For the last one.
The last
on
one, they want to put 3
1316.
apartments in that house?
Yes.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a very big house.
That's what they want to do. Yeah.
And
What's the
don't
C
you have to have
residential
certain,
Only for single family. No twins, no duplexes, no triplexes, no
and these will be
multifamilies.
rental properties?
It appears that way, but because they don't talk about condos, but, otherwise they would need a little condo association, right? If they're going to have, 2 owners.
Don't they need like
one building.
sprinklers and 2 egresses?
They would have to do that.
And stuff like that, Jim? I mean,
Unless
Not
they
under
do
1 and
stick-
2 families, no, or duplex, triplex I would have to look at.
Yeah, but they couldn't use truss construction.
Correct.
Yeah.
they couldn't use what?
Truss construction,
But we don't have-
prefabricated, joists and things.
We don't have to grant the variance. I mean, if it's not zoned for,
Yes, it's
The zoning board does
gets
it,
to
not
make that
us.
decision, but yeah, I mean, what's the hardship? There is no real hardship.
no, the urge to make money.
That's, and financial doesn't count,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Is 1316 an existing
Home.
triplex?
No,
No.
well, no.
It's a
Single family.
dwelling.
It's a single family.
Just the way it's
Yeah.
they're saying
Say
it was
duplex.
purchased
Yeah.
as a non-conforming triplex.
Yeah, do you want to
I
see what the
know.
picture looks
I
like?
drove by and I went on Google Earth.
The very last page is a
Really?
color photograph of it, Alex.
I don't know what,
Oh, okay.
That's it.
yeah, and I don't know what it looks like inside. There was some talk about what has been done to the inside of the building, but they had a rental license for one family to use the building. It was a rental for one. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and I think, I know we, with Joel and I, we asked Brad, and there's a rental license for one family, not, for a single dwelling. And you're allowed to rent the whole house to somebody. That's fine. But,
Jim, you have the property file for this handy somewhere in the office.
Most of it will be digital, but I can
Okay.
get you something.
Okay.
Would you like it now?
If we become authorized to oppose, yes.
Okay.
yeah, the owners, they thought they could get a special exception because they said in Conshohocken they could get a special exception. But they might be in Conshohocken, like
Mailing
they're
address,
not
but
country,
not.
they're in Plymouth.
You can only get a special exception in Conchy for a change of non-conforming use, and you still have to show all the criteria.
Yeah.
I'm the
I
zoning
think
solicitor there.
both of these were conforming. They're used for two, well, the one house, the one with lots 1 and 2, that's already been torn down. And it's a vacant field of, it has a fence around it, a lot of weeds on the inside. From Google. I don't know, maybe they cut it after the Google shot was taken, but, and the other house is still standing. But like each one was for one family, and that's all that's permitted. That's as dense
I
as C
remember it.
residential allows, is one family on a lot.
But there's no parking in that area. I mean,
You're right. And, if you have a visitor, forget about it. But, you'd be trying to add, literally where you have one, you're putting 4 families, technically.
And it's a very busy stretch of the road, too.
They're very busy.
Mhm.
And they're always complaining about parking down there.
Mhm.
Do they submit with council as it's a entity?
I don't think they listed a council.
as a what entity? Alex?
They're a LLC that's submitted, so they
Oh.
can't represent themselves unless it's the owner himself of the corporation.
Oh, they have to hire a
Otherwise, it's
lawyer.
unauthorized practice of law.
It does have Butler Pike Apartment Equitable Owner, you see that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you later who's owning it. I know you know who owns it.
I have an idea.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my opinion. I don't know if the neighbors will come out and be opposed, but I think it's overcrowding the land.
I couldn't believe it when I read it, but
Yeah.
I was looking at the map, I'm like, what?
So I have opposition question mark on my paper, that's something else.
What's the best way for us to proceed?
Well, if you want to send the solicitor to oppose it at the zoning hearing board, you'd make a motion next week, but I would add that to the agenda. And next week, as somebody reads these, and then the next thing they would say is make a motion that we send our solicitor to oppose these 3 applications, and then, they would go to the hearing and oppose it on behalf of council. But you would make that motion next week, but just wanted to bring in today and see what you think, if you want to make that opposition or not. If you do,
I would
I'll
like
write the
to
word
see that
opposition below here.
made. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
It's your area, right, Kat?
I think that's a problem for the people living down there.
I think it's a real problem. It's
There's no-
already congested and difficult enough.
And there's no value.
Mm-mm.
There's no hardship. I mean,
No.
There's no value to the people in the area. There's no hardship.
No, it would be a hindrance to the people there. It would lower
Yeah.
their, I think they would feel as though it lowered their property values.
We can certainly discuss a little more in exec session too, as it would be potential litigation. But Jim,
Oh,
if you
right.
don't mind tomorrow, if you send me the file, that'd be great. Thank you.
On 1, 2, 3, 4?
All 3 of
All
those
3 of them.
cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, on 1, 2, 3, 4, you're probably just going to have the subdivision
And
file.
then, and then 13, 16.
13, 16, you probably have a rental license for a single family to use it.
And as far back as the rental licenses that you have, especially if they're going to argue non-conforming use.
And they say that they bought it this way, but I don't know what it looks like inside. They haven't really testified to what the inside is.
well, our records would show whether there are 2 families or 1 family living in it, right?
If it's a rental license, yes.
You have to know how many people and
Well,
families.
if there's only one rental license, it will either say 2 apartments on it or single-family dwelling.
Okay.
They have
Or
here
3 apartments.
single-family
Or 3
purchased as
apartments,
a non-conforming triplex. I don't know what that means.
So that means probably somebody did some work on the inside without permits, is what that
They've
means.
been doing it without
That's- Yeah.
legal.
To me, that's what
There's
that means.
one property on Butler, I do not know the address, that is, they have 3 apartments in.
Okay. Legally or illegally?
Legally, I mean, as long as I've been here, we've been given it rental license.
But if it's non-conforming and they're getting the rental license, then that's proper. But if we have no record of it, then we have no way that they're able to prove that it's non-conforming. So make it fun.
That'd be the 13, 16 Butler.
That would, yeah.
But I can look that address up pretty quick.
And if it is, it's a different issue. But the allowing of 1234 is a separate application.
I'll just
So someone has, do we assign the reading of
Oh,
that?
the reading, yes.
I'll read that.
All right, Parks and Rec, upcoming events.
I can
Any
read
takers
those.
on reading?
Is that me or Kathy?
You want to fight for it? Arm wrestle for it?
I'm not gonna wrestle somebody with bronchitis, should infect me.
We'll
I
give it,
should be much.
we'll give it to Kathy.
I'm already finished medication.
Phil,
So it's
any,
Kathy's.
any takers yet on the veterans banners?
I checked today, no, but we're gonna start pushing.
Yeah.
We have not yet.
But people know what the price is, because I was shocked at how reasonable it is.
Well, Karen and I worked it out. I mean, it's,
Yeah, but I mean, I think when you start pushing it,
I
put the
agree.
price in there, because people say, wow,
yeah.
that's
I think
that's
it's
a real
market.
bargain to honor my, father or something like that.
I figure we'll push to January and February, put the date of April 1st. People always wait till the last minute, so I'm sure towards the end of March, and maybe we'll get a few more in after that. I just checked this out, so let's keep talking about it. We'll get it on social media.
Sounds good. All right. The gratis meeting space. This was brought up to Lynn, I believe, right?
So, is that just a discussion, like what will we put on the agenda for next week? I mean, we can talk about it tonight, but, I mean,
Yeah, I just wanted, so I guess Chris and Lynn come in on a different topic, but I talked a little bit about this request. It came in, I guess it came in to Karen and Lynn, an email from a regional Girl Scout leader looking for free meeting space. And I guess there's pros and cons, right? It is a community building. It might bring more people in than otherwise ever come in here, and then they see it. Maybe they want to join, or maybe they don't. But on the other hand, it takes away from revenue should you be able to rent that room to somebody and someone can pay for it. So when the building was built here, council at that time decided there'd be no free memberships and there'd be no free rooms other than township business. And that's held for 25 years, right? Or 20 years, how long it's been. It's been a long time. So that would be a change, and we felt the change should come from council, if you're going to change that. If everybody had a chance to read the email from the Scout.
Yeah.
The Scout troop.
But we make one exception, there's going to be a slew of others.
Yes, there will. And it's starting something unless you put some parameters around it, or not. But, if you wanted to, you could designate, maybe when the code enforcement department gets to move back to the township building, there's 2 more rooms down the hall.
Well, one thing I was
Could
thinking
be
is that
available.
until we move back to the township building, it's not
Right.
just code
We're
enforcement taking up
Right.
space,
Yeah,
but council and citizen boards are taking up space, meeting here. And it's not just us twice a month, but we have our budget
Zoning,
hearings
planning, yeah.
and zoning and planning and EAB and everybody meets here.
yeah.
what I might propose, all that considered, is, so I would look to Phil to tell us that there's space available for starters. If there's ever a point at which there's not space, then all bets are off. But while there's space, maybe we say nothing happens until we all move back to the township building, just to make sure that there's adequate space. And maybe we set some parameters, like there's one night a week, and we could look to Phil to say, what's the quietest night of the week? Well, no one rents on Thursdays. So maybe there's something like there's a 3-hour block on Thursdays, it's first come, first serve in 1-hour units, and we reserve the right with 60 days notice to stop if it looks like we're taking away space that could be otherwise rented. And we rent to local groups that are not-for-profit, where particularly, maybe it's not exclusively, but particularly some of the youth activities, whether it's Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or Little League, could benefit from having some local space. So maybe we put some tight parameters on it and also reserve the right to end it if it ever looks like we're impinging on revenue generating opportunities.
I think we need parameters because I don't want it to be the kind of thing where it would be someone who would otherwise rent private space for a birthday party or something, and they come in and say, this is a community group because I'm
Right.
bringing my son's entire kindergarten class. So it's a community thing, you know, it's a local kindergarten class, but he's having his birthday party here.
But there could be a good number of other community groups that would say, well, if you don't allow us to have the same access, then you're discriminating against
I know.
us.
That's
And
why
then
I
how
like-
many other community groups could that be?
That's why I like the idea of having a limited time slot. So it's not really picking and choosing who. It's just, hey, these spots are open. These are the only spots. Whoever comes first gets it. And one thing I was saying, I think it keeps it very controlled, but it also gives us a little window to maybe get some people into the community center and foot traffic. You know, as we talk about trying to increase attendance and revenue there.
And
maybe
they
it's a
see the
way to-
sign for family bingo and pool
Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
father-daughter dance, that kind of thing.
But I think it's important to say, hey, this is the slot, you know, and this is the one day a week per month or whatever that would be available, just to keep it controlled.
Yeah.
So it's not a.
But I also think after we move back to the township building.
Right.
Because space is tight here right now.
I think it's not a matter of saying the Girl Scouts get space and maybe nobody else does. If there's availability and first come, first serve, you could sign up, and we'll have the rules about signing. You could sign up whatever X number of weeks in advance, you know, to make sure.
But you can't fill it up, because if we're going to make one slot available, then someone's going to say, yeah, and they penciled themselves in for the entire year, so now the Boy Scouts can't get in. And why can the Girl Scouts have it for an entire year, and the Boy Scouts have no time?
Like
And
we've been
then,
shut out.
You know,
yeah.
the Nursing Mothers Association starts screaming, and that, you know, I think it's a slippery slope. I think if we have a policy that says we do not allow any because we cannot pick and choose, if you'd like to rent the space, that's fine too. You know, you can do that. But that's me personally. I just see so many community groups starting to fight for that.
Yeah, it is a problem, you know. So I guess this young lady says she lives on Apache Lane, lives right next door to me.
I wondered how close she lived to you when I saw
Right
that
next
address.
door. And actually, she brought it up to me. I wasn't going to bring it up to her. She brought it up to me. So she told me there's not an immediate need. You know, she said she's not searching right now, but they have a number. So she's like on this regional basis, and the Colonial Girls, several troops and different age groups, all the Brownies, Daisies, juniors, seniors, whatever. She's in charge of like all of them. But White Marsh Township does give them a lot of space right now, but I think they feel like, you know, she was just looking for other places where they could possibly go someday.
Where are they going in White Marsh?
She said they had 3 different buildings that they go to. They do go to the former police station, the one on where the former township building was.
Oh, right, yeah.
And
Oh, right
police-
there on Joshua.
Right in Miles Park. You
Yeah.
know, that was the township building there. There's some space in there that they have. I'm not
Cedar
sure if
Grove
it's
Barn,
Cedar
probably.
Grove. Yeah, third
Then there's
place
a building
she mentioned.
for their Parks and Rec offices too. I did confirm with the school district today that there's no charge for the scouts to use the schools to meet in the evenings.
Oh,
So
okay.
that might be an option you can show.
I
Oh,
should
yeah,
watch it.
so she could go
I
to
could
one of our
tell.
elementary
Yeah,
schools or
or the
something.
middle school. I mean, it's
Yeah.
brand new.
Yeah.
It gives those kids a chance to get in there. So that's an option.
I'll ask her if she asked the district.
Yeah, and I
She-
have our contact
could.
there. if she wants it, so.
Mhm. Yeah, it is a slippery slope, you know, and I think it's worked well all these years because it was
Makes
just,
our job
it was just
easier to say
absolute.
no, yeah.
But
You know, we're not-
It does, but the only thing that I will argue is we give a lot of space to different youth sports activities. We
do.
give them a lot of free space.
Yes.
And we take care of the
fields
fields.
and meeting
I mean,
rooms,
right,
yeah.
there's a lot of free
Yeah.
activities. So if your kid is involved in sports, these spaces are available. But if they're involved in scouts or something else,
Yeah.
they're not.
It's true.
But I agree, it could be a slippery slope, because then there could be lots of organizations. But, I mean, if we kept it to local groups, you know,
And I think it has to be
not-for-profit
Plymouth. I mean,
organizations.
some
Yeah,
of these
Plymouth-
organizations we give money to, hardly any of our kids are in
Yeah, I
it,
mean,
and we're supporting.
Plymouth-based, you know,
Probably
not-for-profit
Plymouth.
organizations. I mean, we can put some parameters. That's not just anybody who can come in and get free space. But like I said, we could also argue that we give away a lot. We already give away a lot of free space. Might not be in.
But I mean, scouting wouldn't be Plymouth-based. Scouting is a regional kind of thing, right?
Well, I think
You
she's.
know, might have people that
Well,
belong to it
it's like
from
Colonial
Plymouth, but
Scouts.
but you're going to get a scout troop, and it's going to be from Boy, it's gonna be from Bluebell, it's gonna be from Plymouth, I mean,
Like Colonial Soccer.
yeah, it's gonna pull from around.
Yeah, they do.
Well, there's no immediate need.
There is no
But I think
immediate-
it's
you don't
something
have
we
to
can
decide right
maybe
away.
keep
Yeah.
kicking around and
Keep
see if
in
we can come up
mind
with.
and-
I don't want to
There's
push it off to
nothing
the
heated
side,
over
but.
at Harriet Wetherell, right? Yeah.
It's about the concern there is that the parking lots don't get
They
plowed.
don't get plowed.
In
The
the
bathrooms
winter.
are out, the bathrooms are not in the building
They're
there.
That'd be
outside.
great in the summer for them.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, because that.
And there's nobody on-
Underutilized, it'd be great to get some people in
Yeah.
there.
But there's no staff on site at night. So you're having outside
So
groups
then
come
you'd
in.
have those kinds of issues too.
Yeah, because there's no Pox person there overnight.
Well, let's continue to kick it around and I think there's good points on both sides, so.
I'll draw some.
And I think that, when I replied, I think that, the small conference, a good-sized conference room in the back of the auditorium will be available, again, for, political parties or the youth sports, but they're all adults. Like I just said, I fear like with kids and their glue and their glitter, and arts and crafts, like in the carpet and the chairs, and it won't
And
last.
people clean up after themselves.
Yeah, I mean, as much as she says they do,
Cannot
kids spill
clean
stuff.
glitter.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
that
spill
room
the
may not,
juice.
that
They
room just
clean
may not be
glitter.
conducive to
Yeah,
to that.
for children, I
Right.
mean, and arts and crafts.
As opposed to
Yeah.
like something like
Where the
this.
floor can be washed better, yeah, because it'll be carpet, and it just won't work out very well. But I don't see a reason why those other groups couldn't come back at night, the parties came and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, all right. That's that. Okay, I'll just take that off. Do you want me to reply to her to say we're still thinking about it?
I'll reply to her.
You want to reply?
Phil, if you wouldn't mind sharing the contact for the school, just so I can say in the meantime.
I owe you an email anyway. I'll put it on there. yeah.
Thank you.
They got right back to me today about it, so it's something they're used to.
Thank you.
All right. Citizen board vacancies? Are these all,
So, yeah, these are all now, I think in the next session, you might have somebody for the HARP.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it looks like.
But at least one of the positions.
one of the two, right?
Yeah.
But the other ones are all definitely open.
The others will all be open.
And it's just one for each of those, right? One
Yeah,
EAB,
unless
one
it says
human.
two or three.
Yep.
yes.
Anybody want to read those?
I can read those.
And I just wrote one more thing. Lynn was okay with that sewer letter. Is everybody else okay with the sewer letter?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get back to you. I apologize.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. We'll move to executive.